So I'm in the living room this week, not for any particular reason. That's just where Winnie is, and she's been enjoying me patting her while I work on some projects. Yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about this week, but I've seen a lot of other creators talk about the Hobie things, so I might get into that and my thoughts on that in a second. In the meantime, what I've been working on, last weekend I finished the Pleone tea for my mum, and that was sort of my Mother's Day present to her. This week I haven't had much time for crochet because a good friend of my mum's commissioned me to make a whole bunch of pins for Pride. She's gonna buy them and I donate the money that I get for making these to my choir, and she's gonna give them to a friend of hers who's a drag queen to distribute at some kind of event or something. So that's a bit exciting, and while I've been doing that, I've been making some spare ones as well for my choir. So a lot of cross stitch this week, not a lot of crochet. That's how it goes sometimes, especially when you've got a lot of hobbies on the go. We did just get back from my mum and dad's place, visiting them last week for Mother's Day. Winnie, unfortunately, is not feeling so great. She's not sick. She's got an allergy to cats, and they have a cat up there, so she's scratched off like half of the fur on her belly, which is quite unfortunate. So before we go up there again, I'm going to have to get her a cytopoint injection, which should stop her from having that reaction. I'd hoped just managing it with sort of washing the cat off of her when we left would have been enough, but it's taken her like a week to stop having a reaction to it, so that's disappointingly not worked. Lesson learnt, that's a takeaway from that for me. So getting into, if you've been watching other crochet YouTubes this week, you would have seen that Hobie is in quite a bit of trouble for making a post about AI on their LinkedIn, which has been taken largely as tone deaf, and their response to it has been kind of, oh, what would you call it, Winnie? I think they've missed the point in a big way. Yeah, people in the crafting community, in the crochet community especially, from what I've seen, are perhaps the most hostile towards AI of any sort of community I've ever seen or been part of. I spend a lot of time on Crochet Reddit, and I think the sort of vibe there has been that it's well, any AI is bad AI, I guess, especially sort of in crafting. I've seen people get lambasted for even using AI to edit their photos when the actual garment was like fully crocheted and fully constructed by them, and they just used AI to like brighten it and change the background a bit, and they are getting absolutely torn apart by the comments because they're using AI at all. So when Hobie posted that they used AI to edit photos of their staff, people tore them apart because that seems to be the reaction of crocheters towards AI. And I'm not saying that's incorrect. I think suspicion of AI in the crafting community is really reasonable, and I think it's really justified, especially when we're being pushed, constantly pushed fake AI patterns on Etsy, on Ravelry. Well, not so much on Ravelry, actually. I think it's been largely saved, but definitely on r/crochet I've seen a lot lately. There's one that keeps pushing this AI pattern website using these like sob stories about their their kid wanted whatever, an Eeyore plushie, and they took 3 weeks to make them one, and then they'll say, and I got it from this website, and it's all just this AI generated pattern nonsense. I got a little bit angry at them myself because they posted on Anzac Day about that their grandmother had lost 3 sons in service. And they had a pattern for like a little soldier statuette thing made of crochet. And I think that that's just really gross to use a holiday like that to further your bullshit AI patterns. Pardon the language. And yeah, so I think that the reaction was completely predictable. I think any craft brand saying that they're using AI is going to get in trouble with the craft community because we're so suspicious of it at this point, and it's so everywhere. I'm sorry for shaking my camera a bit. I think the headphones, I have to use the wired headphones again, and that's sort of what we're at with that. But the reaction from Hobie has been even stranger. Like, they've completely misunderstood what people's actual problem with it is. Because they're saying things like, oh, we don't ever use it for the product pictures, or we don't use it on socials, we just used it on like staff photos and things like that. And I don't think that that's the problem that people have with it. People in general in craft are suspicious of AI, but they're like angry at its existence in general. So they're not just mad that you didn't use it, that you would have used it on product photos. They're mad that you use it at all. And reasonable or not, I think that they've just completely missed the point. And that's the outcome, is that people are even angrier, and now it's become a whole thing on social media. Personally, my view of AI, I think I saw someone say it best on a YouTube short on here. I saw it shouldn't have left the science community or the STEM community. I think it's got its place. And as someone who studied data science and who does understand how AI works and what its uses are, I don't actually think that everyone needs to have access to it. I think it's good in medicine. It's got good uses in medicine. It's got good uses in maths and understanding populations. I think that there's a lot of valid reasons to use AI, and I don't know that outside of academia, outside of people who study it and who understand what they're using it for and what its limitations are, I don't think that we have a need to use it at all. I also saw another short that said that the end goal of AI is an artificial general intelligence, which is a computer that is an artificial intelligence that's so human-like that it's indistinguishable from life, and that the end result of creating a general intelligence is that you have an enslaved machine. So it comes back to like this capitalism, capitalist greed, and how our society runs on slavery, which I think is also probably a fair point. But yeah, all that said, I don't think most of us need ChatGPT. I think for most of us, Google sort of served the function that we now use AI for, which is, you know, I have a question, I ask the internet the question, and it answers it for me. And they could do that without using AI. They could do that just through summarizing the top articles and stuff like that, which wasn't actually an AI doing that. AIs are actually mostly just a predictive algorithm, so they tell you what they think comes next based on like probability, which is why it's good in maths and why people don't understand how it works, and people who use it outside of that are in danger of using it to say things that are completely incorrect, which you've seen, like AI hallucinations, and I've seen them even on Google, where you'll search something and it'll say something very correctly, and then you'll click on the linked article that they said that they got that statement from, which will say the complete opposite. Yeah, so that is the Hobie AI situation. It feeds into a bigger private equity situation where private equity seems to be buying into these craft spaces and just completely ruining it. I think the sort of function of private equity is always to maximize profits, and it's kind of a late capitalism thing, where if you're not continuously growing, you're not succeeding, and it's just that infinite growth is not an actual thing that's possible to achieve, so they always end up failing. But they have a tendency to cut quality, and to increase prices, and they trade off of like the legacy and the history and people's trust in these brands until the drop in quality and the increase in the prices has reached such a point where people no longer trust them and they no longer buy them. And then you're left with kind of the husk of what that brand was, and people no longer want to engage with it because it's just not what it was. And then you sell off everything that remains and move on to the next company, I guess. That's what seems to have happened to Joann's. I'm not American, so I can't comment fully on that, and that's what seems to be happening to Hobie. People are concerned that that's what is happening. I think that they encountered issues initially with the tariffs in America, and after the tariffs were announced, they made the strange decision to cut off all of Australasia from being able to buy from them. I think at the same time that was happening, there was a lot of piracy in the Suez Canal. So shipping from Europe to Australia was very interrupted. I think on the face of it, it's maybe reasonable, but also I think that we are used to paying a lot for shipping, and we probably would have continued to pay a lot for shipping. Hobie had free shipping over $75 for Australian customers, which is actually fairly low. I've bought from Australian brands that have free shipping from like $200. I've bought from overseas where the product itself costs almost as much as the cost to ship it, if it was something that was worth it enough for me. So I do think that maybe they could have found a way around that and kept us as customers. Whether we would have made up for the US market, I doubt it highly. Sorry for shaking you there. But I do think that was a very strange decision because they were going to lose America anyway to the tariffs. So it seems like cutting off a large portion of the rest of the world was probably not a smart choice at the time, for me anyways. But yeah, that's sort of the situation, and I felt like I had to mention it. I do have to make more of these pins. I've got to do some pastel koalas next, and my mum's asked me to make some in not rainbow colours, that she can take overseas to our French relatives. I'm currently knitting Mysterium Tea. So it's worked sort of down one side, and this will be the armholes, and then it joins again on this side to work down again, and it's joined in the round and then worked to the bottom, and there's this quite pretty sort of lace. I cast that one on right after I finished my mom's project, but I haven't had a chance to really knit it this week because I've been focusing on cross stitch, which is much harder to do when I'm talking to people, so that's why I'm working on this right now. Yeah, so that is my video for this week. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully please tune in again. Like, subscribe, comment. Please comment. I'm really interested to hear from people if you have any opinions on this.